Um, so welcome everybody. Again, I'm Jim Dickinson, Assistant Vice President for Career Services at Loyola, also a proud alum. It's great to see so many of our students here tonight. We're really excited to get you connected with Jon Borris this evening as the kickoff to this Loyola Connect Live virtual series. What we're really trying to do for you guys over the course of this semester is give you the chance to have some feel of networking and connecting with professionals as we're all separated from each other physically. So if you are comfortable with it, we'd invite you to turn on your webcam. Everybody is default muted for the beginning of this conversation. So we're gonna start off with some remarks from Jon, and then we will kick into more of a live Q&A where you can just kind of connect with him and explore his career, ask questions about what you learned from his initial remarks. I'll let you know right now, this session is being recorded up front just for Jon's remarks. Once we get through that, then we will stop the recording so that we can get into the Q&A, and none of that will be recorded or preserved anywhere. So there's no bad questions, and we're really looking forward to having that conversation. With that, I'm really excited to welcome Jon Borris, class of '98, to talk with us tonight. Jon was a history major at Loyola, varsity lacrosse player, including a trip to the Final Four in 1998. And he has grown an incredible career in music and radio promotion. He's going to share a lot about that. I don't want to give away any of the details of it, but suffice to say, some of the names you have worked with, Jon, it's like pretty much everybody out there in one form or another. It's very cool. So
I wish that were true, Jim. I really do. It's a lot of pretty good ones, but I wish it were everyone. I'm still working on it.
It's awesome. But Jon, we're really thankful for your time. And with that, I'd love to turn it over to you and have you introduce yourself and share a little bit of your story with our students.
Sure. It's really my pleasure to be here. Loyola has really been a deep part of my life, continues to be a big part of my life. And seeing some of you guys here really makes me happy. It makes me think about my time there and how, networking with my crew and my friends, still to this day, just the best group of friends and the best people that I've met and grew up with really are the folks that I got to spend time with at Loyola. So I appreciate that introduction, Jim. Yeah, it's been, you say 1998, I can't believe it. It's really been a blink of an eye that has gone by, and it sucks getting older, guys. So don't try that part of this, but it's really, really something special to have the career path that I have. I can't wait to talk to you more about it. It really started very quickly after Loyola, but there were some seeds planted within it while I was there. And I'll tell you this, the funniest part about all of it was that all of the music themed classes that I took at Loyola, that was the worst. Those are the worst grades that I got. I took a music theory course that I almost failed out of. And I was basically trying to keep the grade point average of the entire lacrosse team above a 3, and single-handedly. And basically that one class really almost killed us. So that's just kind of something down the road we'll talk about. Don't get too hung up on, sort of, you think that this is going to be the rest of your life and you're not so great at it right away. So yeah, I definitely started right out of school, started working with Atlantic Records, and some of the in-between was playing in bands. And as Jim and I were talking about, sort of being on the other side of the curtain for a minute. And then when the professional side sort of picked up, I had to make a decision and really decided that the business of music was really more important to me, I think, than a shot at real rock stardom. And then again, moving down that road, it checked some of the boxes of being able to work with some of those folks that I really looked up to or appreciated their music or listened to their music. And it was very fulfilling in that way as well. And that's sort of how the path started, was way back, like Jim was saying, in '98, I got an opportunity to work with Atlantic Records, still a major record company to this day with some of the biggest artists in the world, from Lizzo to Bruno Mars. And it started off there. And at that point, I mean, I was working with artists like Kid Rock way back when. So I don't even know if any of these guys know who that is, but we had Kid Rock, and we had some other pretty big names, and then sort of transitioned from that company to the Sony Corporation, where I worked at Sony Music Entertainment for 19 years, 19 long years. And that's really where things, you know, the sort of the connective tissue between what my role was going to be and what my life was going to be, and working with artists and developing some careers, and then more specifically, helping them get big hits on radio stations, terrestrial radio stations, satellite stations, streaming services, things like that started to take fold. And some of those names you're talking about, you know, from the John Mayers of the world, and John Legend, and Adele, and Beyoncé, and Calvin Harris, some of those names started cropping up for me. And One Direction was a big one that we helped really cultivate that group before it was what it is now, and broken up now, really. But you know, the Harry Styleses of the world, and growing that. And now my current role at Republic Records and Big Machine Label Group, in a dual role there, working with, you know, Republic's pop artists, and then also Big Machine's some of their country artists that might cross over to the mainstream, like a Thomas Rhett or a Florida Georgia Line, things like that. So that sort of gets you right up to speed. There's a lot of hazy nights in there that we're not going to talk about, from 98 to now, and a lot of late nights helping work with groups and signing groups, and bringing them along to where they are now, helping them really realize their full potential. And that's hopefully what I can help do with some of you guys, if you're interested in this line of work.
And John, that's awesome introduction. Could you give us a little taste of when we talk about like cultivating artists, and then the promotion side of things to help them actually get hits on the radio or different services? Sure. What's it look like day to day? Like what's that process, and how did you grow in that through the course of your career?
It's interesting. It's very interesting because sometimes you have an artist that, or a band, or you know, a singing group or something like that, that is just ready to go. They come in, the records are cut, they're mastered, they're mixed, they're ready for the radio, they're ready for Spotify, Apple Music, they're ready to go out into the world and be judged by the public. And sometimes that's great, because, you know, you don't have to do too much of polishing the diamond until it really gets out there. And other times it comes to you and it's very, very raw. It might be a singer comes in and does a showcase and just blows everybody away, but there's no real original music yet. You know, we have artists come in all the time that maybe we have record contracts out to them, or it's a competitive deal where there's other labels that are looking to sign them, and they'll just come in and sing. They'll sing a cover song. They'll sing something from Adele or Whitney Houston, or something that's tough to sing, you know, and help further their career in that way. And if we do sign something like that, then there's a whole other department called A&R, Artists and Repertoire. It stands for Artists and Repertoire, that will go and try to cultivate their sound and really help find a songwriter that maybe they can connect them with to write the perfect song for them. You know, like a good example of that is, you know, like a Carrie Underwood. You know, she won a singing contest, right? So she was an American Idol. And so after that, you don't have like a repertoire of your own songs. You have to go find them. And so there is a whole other side of the business, which is songwriting, that helps those types of things move along in the way that hopefully they're supposed to. So, you know, I guess that's a roundabout way of you know, answering your question, which is that it can happen in many different ways. But the two very distinct ways is just immense talent married with songwriting, or packaged, you know, artistry that is ready to go and it's polished and ready before it even really, you know, is necessary for a record label to step in. From a perspective of radio promotion, which is, you know, the umbrella, sort of the departmental umbrella that I work in, you know, you hope for things that are ready to go, because then it's just a matter of talking to people that I have relationships with at, you know, the highest levels radio chains and streaming groups and things like that and saying, hey, this is going to be the next big thing and you should get a hold of it first. Where you have to develop things more is, you have things that are very, very early on, and you have to really kind of, maybe it's not the first record, maybe it's the second record. Again, from someone who worked all of Adele's music up until, even this new record, which will be on Columbia. I won't have anything to do with that, but any music that she's had out, we've worked with. Even the first album, we didn't really have any big hits on that album. There wasn't a ton. It really wasn't until the second record that we really had a breakthrough. So even with that type of, whether you're a fan or not, even that type of rare and unique talent, sometimes the business of music has to catch up to that and has to really make sure that you're getting the record through to the public. It can be challenging.
That's awesome. Yeah, and there's timing to that too, in terms of what people are ready for, kind of what the trends are. So an artist may hit in a few years later than you would want them to, but it's that timing.
I'm glad you said that. The Chainsmokers is a group that actually comes to mind when you say that, because those guys were honestly club DJs who, when the confluence of electronic music was coming together with pop music, right? Electronic music was kind of a niche format for a long time. And when it started growing in popular culture, and you had these club DJs that were kind of writing pop songs, when those things got married, boom, they took off and they were humongous. I remember the first cut of the demo that we heard of their song Roses, which was their first song. We didn't have a female vocalist to sing the whole song, really, and the only one that we had to do it was an artist named Roses. So it didn't make any sense at all. We had a song named Roses. The artist name was Roses with a Z from Philadelphia, and we just said, well, what the hell? We got this record's ready to go. We have to put them together in some way, shape, or form. Yeah, Eileen, I mean, seriously, we just at some point just got to put it out. And so that kind of kick-started that. And then this is something that we'll keep in our little family here. And I know we're recording this, but it's definitely not common knowledge, is that when we got the first draft of the song Closer by the Chainsmokers, that's the worldwide hit for them, the first cut of that record actually was Camila Cabello singing the whole record, who was in Fifth Harmony. And God's honest truth, it just didn't sound right. It just wasn't, didn't connect in the same way. And I had worked with a band in my past called Boys Like Girls. They were like a emo pop punk group. And their manager was managing Halsey at the time. So we made a phone call to him, and then he got Halsey to cut the record, and, wasn't going to take as much of a percentage of the publishing, which is a whole other side of things. From it. And when Halsey cut it, what you hear on the radio with that song, or when you play it on, when you stream it or whatever, that is the first cut of her singing the record. She nailed it in one cut. And so that was the version of the song that came out. So that's a kind of an example of how that those things come together, Jim, where maybe you're not sure, but at the time that things are becoming part of pop culture and things are crossing into the mainstream, they can take off together and become monster worldwide hits.
It's awesome. Well, look, guys, I am fascinated by this. I bet you all are too. It's really cool stuff. So let's do this. Why don't we'll end the recording at this point so that we can really get into